Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics, and welcome to our second annual Wine and Cheese Month. Wine and Cheese is where we enjoy wine and cheese and pair it with a nice romantic comedy, romantic film, I guess. Chick flicks, some might say. Um, so
Are
this
some
week,
supposed to say that anymore?
You're not allowed to say that.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
some
know.
are supposed to say that. I think they're just romantic films now.
The issue is I feel like those, either way you say it, chick flick or like romantic comedy or romantic film, has a negative connotation.
That's
I feel
because
like
you're
if
sexist.
if you say like, oh, it's a romance film, it kind of like puts me to those like weird paperbacks that they have at like every grocery store that's like over
Yeah.
sexualized.
Yeah, I immediately think softcore porn.
So this week, to kick it off, we're doing The Notebook. We didn't do this last year, and I feel like it really irked a couple of people that we didn't go this far.
We had to dip our toes in.
We did have to do it to them, and maybe the best romantic film there is.
Definitely a staple.
It is a popular one, that's for sure. Like, especially people our age. I was definitely forced to watch this with my high school girlfriend. So
Wait, Zach, had you seen this?
No, this was my first time.
Okay, I was about to say, oh shit,
yeah,
did everyone?
no, we
did everyone see
discussed this, and I mentioned that I have seen this, and Zach is the one.
I
This
always
week,
I
Zach
always
is the
forget
one
like until we
who
get
doesn't
back
need
in
a
it,
gun.
and then it's like, wait, okay,
Yeah,
I think there's one movie on our list this month that I've seen.
which one is
Really?
it?
Legally Blonde.
Okay,
I've
I have not
both
seen
of
that though.
those.
So to kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're gonna go to our wine and cheese pairing. So we were kind of trying to find wines. None of us are big wine people, I would say,
No.
but I was investigating on Reddit, and there was a nice post about what's a good like wine and cheese pairing for our movie watch list that we're gonna do this month. And I was like, hey, there's a lot of movies that we wanted to do on here. So for The Notebook, somebody recommended like a nice like fancy wine, and below that there's a comment that basically said you should do 19 Crimes wine because it's super overrated, just like The Notebook. That's kind of what led us to this one. We ended up picking, I think it's called the Uprising, which is like
Yeah.
a red blend aged for 30 days in rum barrels. I guess the big gimmick, which kind of ties into the movie,
Right.
which Cameron brought up, is that you can like download this app with 19 Crimes and learn about the crime, and it takes you like back in time through an AR experience to like the time that this happened.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
actually
person's
really
life.
cool. You like load it up and it like scans the label, and there's like a person on the label, and then the person like
Did
Sorry,
yours?
what?
Did you do the whole 3D thing?
so there's two.
Because I
There's
did the one
two-
where like it like pops out like. And
Yeah,
like, a
so
dude
there's
in a
two
jail cell.
experiences that you can download. I tried both. So yeah, there's one that you're describing, which it's like it's a whole 3D thing, and it like pops out, and there's like two characters that show up and they talk. And then the other one is that the face on the label actually like talks to you and like is like it's actually living. It's honestly like a Harry Potter newspaper or something like that.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool. I mean, I think that is the by far coolest part about the wine. But it is a cool little gimmick, and is a nice little tie-in to The Notebook, which is, written or otherwise media that takes you back in time.
I would definitely stop by the 19 Crimes bottle in the aisle and like point my phone at it. But I don't know if I would buy it.
I wouldn't after this experience. No, honestly,
I wouldn't buy it for like the gimmick.
Yeah,
No.
I think this is.
I will say
fine.
one of the bottles has Snoop Dogg on it, and the AR thing works with Snoop Dogg, so Snoop Dogg can like talk to you from a bottle of wine.
Maybe I would buy
Yeah,
that.
there's a Martha Stewart one coming out now too.
But no, I mean, my disclaimer, I guess, is that I don't really like reds in general already, but even so, this isn't good. The cheese, did you say which cheese we paired it with yet?
No, but I was
Okay,
about
go
to.
for it.
I
Yeah.
was about to crack open some of mine. I went with a hickory smoked Gruyere.
Hell yeah.
I don't know.
I just did a
you just said
regular Gruyere.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just did a
extra
regular
regular.
Gruyere with Ritz crackers. I don't know. The cheese and The cheese and crackers are great. I don't really understand wine cheese pairings. Maybe I'm not enough of a
It's
connoisseur
like
to get
a
it.
warm aroma type of thing. Like you're supposed to serve them both warm, and wines. Some wines are better at room temp, and some cheeses are better at room temp. That's all I can think of. I
I
really
mean, I would
appreciate the
imagine
charcuterie boards
the
nowadays.
flavor palette of the wine is supposed to quote pair nicely with the cheese, but I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Like, do you like put cheese in your mouth and wine and like swirl it all around? You're
No,
like,
you
"This is
dip the
good."
cheese in the wine.
I don't think you're supposed to do that either.
I just not like milk and cookies. I can probably promise you that one.
It's adult milk and cookies, basically.
Yeah, I don't
really
understand
understand
it
it.
either. Because they do that with like liquors too. It's like, oh, this bourbon is smoky and caramel and vanilla, and it would pair well with like steak or something. And I'm like,
Oh, I get that.
I will say I do understand that. A nice bourbon with a steak, ugh. I mean, maybe maybe the issue is I'm not a wine person, so maybe that's really where
your
the
palate
disconnect is.
isn't defined.
It's been over a year. I'm still waiting on steak and bourbon month.
Bourbon and Steak Month. This month we're doing
Action
Woodford.
movies.
We're doing Woodford Reserve Double Barrel and Filet Mignon.
We're watching Rambo.
It would have
Yeah, and
no.
also
It would
we're
have to be
watching Die
like
Hard.
it would have to be some like bougie kind of dude film with like the filet mignon and like the nicest whiskey you can buy at the store.
The nicest, dude. I mean, bourbons can get kind of expensive, but if you are looking to buy expensive whiskeys, there are some scotches that are insanely priced.
Yeah.
Like
Get
thousands
a nice
of dollars.
Pappy Van Winkle. And,
Happy Van Winkle's shot up in price recently.
Really? I mean, I've heard
Well, it's-
that's kind of like a bottle you buy to impress people.
Oh yeah.
For
It's like, hey,
bourbons.
buy a nice used car or buy this bottle.
I
Yeah.
think it's just a supply thing though. Like they only release so many, so it's a lottery system.
I feel like I don't really like.
I don't
I
want
don't
to drink
know.
anything that's $300. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
shoes for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna wear a $300 pair of shoes. They're gonna get
No.
dirty and stepped on. And
It depends on
a
what your
three-
money is going for in the shoe. If the shoe lasts longer because you paid for it, then sure. But if it's like just aesthetically, it's way more money because of that. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
get
if it was like a good boot or something, I guess I would.
oh
If
yeah,
I
Right.
needed
yeah.
work boots or something.
right.
yeah.
But if it's like, Jordans or something, like I don't really see the value in that personally.
The reason I kind of picked this one was because I wanted the rum barrel aged. Because
We could have just done rum.
I wanted to like it. Yeah, I mean, I saw the rum age too, and I was like, maybe I'll like this. I wanted to like it. I wanted to open it and be surprised.
it
I was
definitely
not
does like
surprised.
it gives a flavor though. Like there's like
It
a
does give
is
a
it-
flavor.
Is it Madeira rainwater? There's like another like it's like Portuguese wine or something that they like age in cognac casks, I think, or something. And that like this kind of reminds me a little bit of that. How you get that like oaky little woody.
I think we've
charred
talked
flavor.
about this, but that is the new trend: is to age things in other things.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
so many whiskeys out there now that are like, which
think
like I
it's,
have one. It's like,
You think it's
oh,
like a repurpose of like sustainability, or do you think it's like
No.
this
No,
is a
it's
popular
cheap.
trend, so let's do it?
No, I think that there's this whole. I think there was a mad rush of get these barrels and put whiskey and scotch in them and rum and cognac in them and let them age. And that ended like 15 years ago. All these barrels have been empty, so they're trying to repurpose them, and now they're dirt cheap.
I can see that. I mean, honestly, like they're kind of good. Like I haven't tried. I have one that's whiskey aged in cognac barrels, which I imagine would be good. Haven't tried it yet. But my favorite one is whiskey aged in maple syrup barrels. That's actually pretty tasty. I know it's a meme on the pod, but also it's delicious.
It just saved you a step. It's a twofer. You didn't have to squeeze your maple syrup out of the bottle.
Well, you still do that
Whoa,
too, but it
whoa,
adds
Ben
to
is
it.
not here today, so
Zing,
calm down.
zing.
Well, check the show notes below. Hopefully, we'll have Drizzly and Casker links to this 19 Crimes wine, and go to your local store. And if you can't find a gear, just find a nice cheese that you think would pair well, And
Just
if it
Google
doesn't
it.
pair well, just eat it separately. Who cares,
Yeah, it's cheese.
There's no rules
doesn't
when
matter.
you're wine and cheesing.
Wine cheese pairings are a hoax. We're gonna do them all month, but they're a myth. made up by Big Cheese and Big Wine to get you to buy more cheese and wine together.
Next week, tune in for
Just buy
Barefoot
cheese.
Moscato and Craft Singles.
Oh, we
American
should.
cheese. Ew. God, no, I would vomit. I think that would be disgusting.
Tell us what you think of our wine and cheese pairings. And check out The Notebook on HBO Max, because we're about to spoil it. And there's a little spoily to it.
Yeah.
The Notebook is a 2004 drama romance film. It's directed by Nick Cassavetes, written by Jeremy Levin and Jan Sardi, based on the novel by Nicholas Sparks. Currently sits at a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It stars Gina Rowlands, James Garner, Rachel McAdams, Ryan Gosling. James Marsden is in there. Or Marsden.
This is a weird ordering of the cast
Yeah.
that you're pulling out.
They gave
Like, I
you
feel
like
like-
the classics first.
I feel like Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams come up first, right? Like they're top billing.
Yeah, but I just went off of IMDb, which I feel like is, it might be like a stature thing, or it might just be like
Or
order of appearance.
appearance, yeah. Probably order of appearance, I would imagine.
Probably, because I do think that starts with like telling the story, and
Yeah.
it's the story of a poor yet passionate young man who falls in love with a rich young woman, giving her a sense of freedom, but they are soon separated because of their social differences.
I didn't remember a lot about this movie, specifically the end, but we'll get to that later.
At the end, probably.
One of the things that's so weird to me looking back at movies like this is I don't even know how to describe it, but the trope where the guy just has to be persistent enough to get the date with
I was about
the
to say
woman.
that too.
That's all you have to do.
It's just a heavy cringe fest in the very beginning of the movie. It's like, she said no.
Yeah.
I'm going to literally kill myself if you don't agree to go out with me.
Let's talk the carnival scene.
Holy shit, what? You're insane. And then she's like, yes. And he's like, well, I want you to want to go. Like, what? You're a psychopath.
Yeah, well, like when they first meet, he's like up in her face, like 2 inches from her, and be like, I want to go on a date with you.
Speaking of that, when they're on the Ferris wheel and he's holding on for dear life, and she just reaches out and pulls his pants down, the beta cuck next to her is just letting that fly. What's going on?
Well, I think he was already pretty dejected because she was like, he was like, will you go out with me? And she's like, okay, fine. And he's like, I want you to say you want to go out with me. And then she says that, and the guy next to her is like, wait, what? So I think he's kind of over the whole scenario by that point. Definitely an odd choice for her to pull his pants down, though, while he's just hanging there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this whole movie is kind of, well, at least the beginning part. To be fair, I mean, they're kids, right? I mean, I don't know how old he is, but she's 17.
I mean, it was what? It's before the 40s, right?
Yeah,
Because
I think
they're
it's in the
about to
30s.
go into World War II.
It is 1940 exactly.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you just have to be persistent enough to get the date, you know?
I think they're both teenagers when it happens, because like you'd have
assume
to go
so.
to work. You'd have to go to work early in those days. My grandfather was working in the coal mines when he was like, I think he left school in the 4th grade.
Whoa.
And fought in World War II. So like, Pennsylvanians just built different,
Child labor laws. What are they?
Two things that are wild about this movie to me, even before we get into the plot. One, this came out the same year as Mean Girls. Like Rachel McAdams was Allie in The Notebook and Regina George in Mean Girls in the same year.
I noticed that too. That's crazy. Like, in 2 iconic movies in 1 year. It's nuts.
And Gina Rowlands, who plays like old Allie,
Yeah.
her son is the director.
Oh.
Nick Cassavetes.
Yeah. It's okay, I'm going to cast my mom to play the love interest.
That is odd.
Some Oedipus shit.
I was like, if that's her son, then is she married to John Cassavetes? And she is, who is like a famous like indie director from like the 70s.
It's just very Freudian that he would cast his own mother as the love interest.
I mean, but it's not like
I mean, he's not pretending to be
it's
Noah,
not
I guess.
really Freudian, because they're not like their love story isn't like the hot passionate one. It's like the like sad like pure love one,
Our love can do anything.
Can it make
us
miracles?
kill ourselves.
Exactly. Can it make us die together tonight?
Yeah, totally. It can make us die together tonight.
Reaches over for a syringe.
I've seen this movie before, and I did remember a lot of it. Like, obviously, there's the whole like Alzheimer's plot, them passing away together at the end, and the whole like, oh, the mom stole the letters, and I guess a lot of the big like twisty elements. But like, some of it is like so ridiculous. Like we were talking about, I was like, Noah's kind of a creep though. Like it's that whole weird like pushy dude trope.
Well, he builds a whole house to her liking because as a 17-year-old, she said she wanted a white house with blue shutters.
Yep.
And then that's just how he built his life around, he built his life around this girl he knew for one summer when he was 17 years old.
It's true love, Cam. You wouldn't know anything about it.
Cam never built a house with blue shutters. He has no idea what true love is.
The other thing that like is crazy to me is like after they like go paddling and it starts raining and we have the like intimate scene finally, they fucking like lock arms outside. And Ryan Gosling carries her through the entire house up the stairs, like, while kissing.
I'm not letting you run away this time.
I'm like, how the fuck is he doing that? That man is pure muscle.
I mean, he did build a whole house with white paint and blue shutters,
Yeah, I guess.
Dude's just yoked out of his mind.
He's a real blue collar kind of guy,
He's a real white t-shirt kind of guy, because that's all he wears for the second half of the movie.
Guys, this was my uniform when this movie came out. I never saw the movie, but I knew that this guy just wore like jeans and a white t-shirt. And there are so many cringy pictures of me from the ages of like 12 to 15 where I only wore white t-shirts and blue jeans.
You wanted to be Noah?
I don't know. With this movie, I feel like you can take the first 10 minutes and you can make two different movies. One is The Notebook, where the creepy guy gets a girl, they fall in love, yada yada. The other one is the love interest shows up and kicks that guy's ass. And then those two go off and fall in love. And the loser guy still builds the house and he tries to like kill them when he's 20. And the guy defends his house from the psycho and he never bothers the girl again. I feel like that's the other movie.
Interesting.
I do feel like Straw Dogs?
Something like that.
I do feel like Marsden's character is
is a total simp.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I think he's the more respectable character. I don't know, like he isn't like a creep towards this girl, right? Like he is like, okay, I'm just saying it's kind of like, because he's like, oh, I want to take you out on a date, and then later he shows up in his military uniform and he's like, let's go on that date that I talked about, and then she's like, okay. So, like, he isn't like, I'm going to build a house in your image type of creepy, He's like, I'm going to follow you up on this date.
I don't think that was creepy, but, like, that was literally, like, his goal in life was to rebuild that house. But he just did it in that style because, like, it was kind of like he was doing it because he was like, I already told her I was going to do it. I'm going to do this anyways. Like,
well, okay, I'm fine with rebuilding the house, but it is odd to be like, I promised this person that's no longer in my life that I'm going to do it in a very particular way, and I'm going to keep it like that. It's just kind of weird,
It's pretty psycho that after 365 days of writing a letter, you guys ever written a letter? It fucking blows. Writing letters fucking sucks. And this guy did 365 of them to this girl who never wrote back once, and then he fixed the house.
That's true. Well, his dad also, in a weird twist of whatever, sells his house so that they can fix up that house, which is such a strange.
Yeah. Where'd they get the money to buy that house and then fix it up?
Well, the dad sold his house, so then they were able to get a loan for the other house.
Yeah. Also, 1940s inflation alert. Noah made 40 cents an hour.
Yeah.
He was a homeowner.
I mean, someone offered to buy the house fixed up for $50,000. How much was that even back then? It's got to be a shit ton of money now, right?
I was going to say, Noah also says he saves most of his money.
That's true.
Most of his 40 cents an hour. I don't know if I'm just like becoming soft in my old age.
Yeah, you're a big softy.
But this movie did make me like start to tear up a little bit in moments, and I'm like, fuck, I won't do it. It's like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, where the guy starts to cry. He's like, get back in there, tear.
Oh yeah, and it goes back up. Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely parts of this.
But it's definitely not like the part like.
Honestly, the parts where they're old are sadder.
Yeah.
And more emotional
Like,
than the
People
parts
are
when they're
sad
young.
as fuck.
Well, especially because he's like, which is a little batshit insane, but his family's like, come home, Dad, we miss you. And he's like, no, I'm staying
Fuck
here.
you, kids.
Which, like, I mean, okay, on one level, it's kind of like, all right, your kids kind of miss you, and you did have those kids, so maybe you should pay attention to them as well. But I don't know, at the same time, he's like, oh, she's my home. It's like, oh.
Well, I think the parts where like the saddest parts are like where she finally like remembers, and it's like he gets that like
my
brief
God.
like 5-minute moment of them together, and then
She forgets.
and then she like the Alzheimer's kicks in and she forgets again, and you're just like,
Dementia, Dylan, get it right.
I mean, she has Alzheimer's.
No, you.
All right. It's the same disease, but I believe it is specifically Alzheimer's in this movie. You looking it up?
I'm curious.
While we're looking things up, I just want to let you guys know $50,000 in 1940 is equivalent to $995,721 today.
Wow.
So if you were curious, Alzheimer's is a cause for dementia.
It's like
Or a type?
I thought it was a type.
Or I
Well, that
see
changes the story.
both.
Hannah said on their medical records, it's separate. They'll have both on their medical
So it
records.
says Alzheimer's disease is one type of dementia. But I've seen other things that say Alzheimer's causes dementia. I mean, dementia is just a general term for deterioration of brain tissue, right? So
Yeah, and then I think Alzheimer's is like just memory loss, right? Like the loss of that shit scares the hell out of me, you know? Like when you think about like Alzheimer's and like cancer.
it's rough.
At the same time, can't do it.
Well, at the same time, it's a little different. But, I mean, cancer sucks, but at least you have some wherewithal, I think, until the end. But Alzheimer's just slowly...
Like COVID I'm not scared about because there's like a vaccine for it. And I know if I take that, I most likely will not die from it. But like,
Here it comes.
there's not really...
Anti-vax Dylan coming in. Hot takes. Anti-COVID. Dylan's a COVID truther.
There's not really a cure for cancer or Alzheimer's.
No.
And
Well,
like you
here's
don't
the
know
thing.
when you're going to get it or if you're going to get it.
Yes.
And it's just going to pop up one day and you're going to feel bad. You're going to go to the doctor.
Also, well, the scary thing, too, about Alzheimer's is it's just slow. Like, dementia. It's
Yeah.
just a slow. Like, certain things start adding up, like... they'll be telling stories and they'll just kind of drift off into space and you're like, what the hell? That's kind of weird. I don't know. Like I forget which was which, but like my grandpa had some form of dementia and he was really good at hiding it though. He'd like, until it got really bad, he was very good at like downplaying how bad his issues were. Like he would just like joke around and stuff where it's like, okay. It's just no, it's not good.
Well, it's like that. It's kind of like Memento. I think is where that line was, where the guy's like, you'd always look into his eyes and you'd have that look of like recognizing, but it was because like it was easier to act like you knew somebody than for to disappoint them with not recognizing them.
Right.
It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah. I feel that way with my neighbors. They come up and they're like, hey, Zach. And I look at them like,
Hello.
hey, man.
Hey, you.
Yeah, because there's definitely
Guy?
a brief period, at least where something's not quite right, but you're trying to like play it off like it's fine. And then of course when you're just like full blown dementia, like but you're still cognizant enough to like talk, like have conversations and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, hey, yeah, I know you. No.
Wild.
The only time I like remember or be like was old enough to remember meeting one of my great grandfathers. We like went to him in like a nursing home, and my dad's like, "Oh, this is my son, Dylan." He's like, "Oh, hey, George." It's like,
Yeah. Called you by your dad's name?
no, just
No.
called me a random name.
Just called you George.
Just called me a random name. I was like, okay, thanks, great grandpa.
There's some. It does weird things. My great grandma, I think, kept complaining about like a little boy in her room or something. I think, if I'm getting it right, it was like a little boy in her room. It was just her in the mirror, like. But she like mistook it for something else. I
This
don't
sounds
know.
like the start of a horror movie.
It's not. I promise.
I feel like I had the opposite end. One of my grandparents had dementia, and it was going on for like a year or two, where he would, similar to you guys, just stop really knowing who you were, would continue a conversation though. He had a stroke after, and like basically reverted back to a toddler.
Yeah.
And it's like, how you're supposed to go on and live for like 10 more years like that? It's like the last 60 years of your life just kind of didn't happen.
I feel like there's a certain it's hard because it is like a gradual decline, and then sometimes it just like, cliffs off. There's got to be a point where it's like it's not worth it, right? Like,
At least you don't know. Like, you feel like you're starting like this, like Allie in the movie. It's kind of like Reese Witherspoon in like a 51st Dates type of thing. It's like every day is basically brand new.
mean
and
Drew
you just
Barrymore?
understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got
Drew
I've been
Barrymore
watching,
slander.
I've been watching the morning show on Apple TV. It's pretty good. Not a sponsor. Reese Witherspoon's in that.
Yeah, she is in that.
But it's like
Pretty
each,
good, not
each
a
day's
sponsor.
brand new, and there's this man in black who shows up and reads you out of this fucking book, and you're just cool with it every day.
You're like, oh, what
Like-
a great story, Mark.
Oh, what's his name? Duke?
It's so sad thinking about like how many days in a row has he done that exact thing.
Just to get pushed away, and then maybe at the end of a week he gets 5 minutes
I was
with
gonna
old
say
Allie.
just to get 5 minutes of like her having her memory for that small amount.
It's rough.
Sad.
It's rough. It's bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation.
I feel like we encountered two completely different types of sad going back to back this week. We did Requiem last week, and now The Notebook this week.
Yeah, one's like a realism of like death and disease and love, and then the other one is addiction and drugs.
I mean,
the
this one to
realities.
me is a little more poignant because this is stuff people like. I mean, not that people don't go through addiction and stuff, obviously, but like everybody gets old, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has an entire life, and then someday doesn't. So I don't know. That's yeah.
And it's like one of those basic principles of life too, is like love and finding that like one, maybe that's not what you believe in, but like, I think
That's why I have you guys.
I think it's one of those like it's one of the basic human
Don't
needs
offend
is
all
like
the
affection
polyamorous people.
and love and food and
And food, yeah.
and food.
I mean, you're starting to
Nourishment.
get into the actual important ones: food, water, shelter,
Xbox, the important things in life.
Game Pass Ultimate, Microsoft.
Not a
buying
sponsor.
Activision.
Could be though. Hit us up. No, yeah. It's
If you're listening, Bill Gates.
It's interesting because I feel like, I mean, obviously most of the movie is back in the 40s or whatever, but I don't know about enjoy, but I feel like the scenes where they're older are almost more powerful to me because, when they're younger, it's like young love or whatever, and then, but like, they're old and they're still with it, and he's like willing to do all this just to be with her and just to try and, get back the person he loved all those years ago still, even, however many, like 50 years later or whatever, like that's more like real and more powerful to me at least than
Yeah.
because
Like the other half is like it's like a perfect love story kind of thing where it's like, oh, like we fell in love super quick and we were perfect for each other and we had our bumps, but like we got together. But then it's like, yeah, but the real shit is when they're old
yeah.
and you have to like fight
Right.
for those 5 minutes,
Yeah.
And to be honest, like I didn't like the rest of the movie, like the cheesiness of it or like the story. Like I didn't like most of that. I don't know. Like we talked about him being a super creeper, and obviously it's a Nicholas Sparks thing. It's very cheesy. Like I said, I thought the other parts were better.
Couple notes I had was the awkward like almost sex scene
Oh yeah.
where he like floats out the blanket and then they just like undress across the blanket from each other, like taking turns taking off pieces of items, and then
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
basically, and then like once they're like starting to like get hot and heavy, she's like just talking so much that it like ends. It's like, all right.
That is an interesting take on it, though, especially, well, because they're like teenagers and that's their first time, you know? Well, I mean, you're at least assumed to be her first time. We don't know about him, but.
I'm sure he's climbed many a Ferris wheel in his day.
That's what I've been missing all these years.
Oh my
Let's
God.
do it again.
Yeah, that was definitely a weird line.
That was the lady boner. Like,
Wow, your wiener was so good, and I gave it up for 7 years. Can I have your wiener again?
Men writing women. At some point in the movie, when the main character woman, I don't know why Allie, right?
Allie,
is at Noah's house. Her mom comes. Is like, hey, your fiance is following you down here. Let's take a trip to someone I used to like, you know. Like what do you think the point of that was?
that she creepily explains that she watches this guy when she comes down here every so often.
On the other side of a dirt pile.
Yeah, so
sometimes.
that's obviously weird. That's super weird that she just casually goes down there when they're vacationing in their house, their giant mansion. She just like goes down and watches him fucking dig piles of dirt. But
She's just trying to connect with her daughter and say like, "Hey, I've been here and I made the choice we're trying to make you make as well. Maybe don't do that.
Well,
Maybe
but
hang out with Noah, see how it goes."
I don't know if
it's
it was
hard.
like
I struggled to tell if she was which way she was trying to convince her to go, though.
I don't know if she was necessarily
so?
one
You
way
know,
or the other.
When she gives the letters back, that was confirmed for me. She's like, "Yeah, stay here with Noah."
I was gonna say, like, I don't know if she's necessarily being like go one way or the other, but she's just like giving you. She's like, this, like, I also had a choice, and I made this one. I hope you make the right one, and gave her the letters, and was like, you know, do with this information what you will. This is how I turned out, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just I wasn't sure what her original intentions were. It does seem like when she gave her the letters, it was kind of like, maybe you should read these and be with him if you like what you see. but I mean, she really freaked it when she withheld those letters, though, huh?
Yeah, they really paint. I mean, it's not hard, but they paint the parents as like the bad guys.
Oh, they're bad.
Because,
They're
like,
classist assholes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Allie is also an asshole. You know, like she.
Incel cam, about to
No,
speak.
what?
Step
No,
up to the mic.
No, I mean she's an asshole too, right? Like she got engaged to be with somebody and then is like, I need to take a trip and I'm gonna tell you where, but I'm not gonna tell you what for. And also it's to see this ex that I can't stop thinking about.
Yeah. It was pretty douchey.
Yeah, she just goes down there and is like, for like what else did she think was gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like she went down there for
Also-
like one thing, you know?
Also, her beta cuck fiance was just cool with it.
Her fiance
Well,
was
not
like,
really, because he was calling the hotel and everything, and then was like coming.
Well,
out.
no,
100
he
times, and
was-
it was super friendly with her when she finally picked up.
He was cool with and he was like cool with the whole trip. I mean, he did not know that like the ex, like her ex was there or whatever. So when
But
he
he
found
found
out,
out.
that's when he went down there.
And then never even went to the house and kicked the guy's ass.
Well, because I don't think because he didn't get that far. Because her mom was like, he's coming down here. You got to do something. And then when she explains her infidelity, he's like, I can either kill him or beat him up or leave you, and I don't want any of those, and I want to be with you. And so, you know, but he's like, I mean, it's not what I would do personally, but he's totally like, you know, I want to be with you still, but I don't want to convince you to be with me, you know.
Honestly, he was the most level-headed person out of like anyone in the movie.
Oh, yeah, 100. Well, yeah, 100%.
I mean, granted, he was like, "I'm gonna go kick this dude's ass" or like kill him or whatever, but
I feel like you gotta go have the good Donnybrook. I feel like you gotta let it fly.
like a
What?
chivalry, like fight for her love moment.
Not even fighting for her love, she's done with, but you at least go get a good fight out of it.
But he wasn't the one that cheated. She was.
Yeah, I know. You still go get a good fight out of it, though.
Okay.
Drop the
But no,
mitts.
I mean, again, like, he's a wealthy Southerner, but I think he was definitely the most level-headed person, and Allie's kind of not great either. Like, or not great in
But then
this
that makes them perfect for
thing.
each other because Noah was using the War Widow.
He was, and he got off the hook way too easily with her too. It was so weird when she just got invited in to hang out with those two.
And they just hung
It's
out
like,
for a whole day. Dog, she left and it was dark out.
yeah, the whole day, and she was like, "Oh man, now I have something to look forward to now that I've seen how you and her are together, and I just sucked."
That was
With
a
you.
really weird thing where it was like, yeah, it was like, oh, like I haven't felt like something to look forward to since my husband passed away, and I'm like, what are you looking forward to from them? Like them getting married or something? I'm confused.
Well, I think she's looking forward to because
Finding love again or
she
something?
saw yeah, exactly. She saw two people who are so in love with each other that she is now inspired to, find true love again. So,
I mean, she kind of seemed
Which-
interested in Noah because she was like,
Well, yeah.
she was like, what are we gonna do? And he was like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, but once she saw those two together, she was kind of like okay with it in a weird way. I feel like he got off the hook there. Like, I mean, it didn't seem like he was super interested in the relationship to begin with, but
he cured his loneliness, I think is what they said, or something along those lines.
yeah, it's not a great excuse. And he was I'll give him a minor grade asshole because of that. But Allie's a huge asshole for being engaged and then going and cheating on her fiance and then leaving her fiance, and
We're gonna hit up them ads. We're gonna come back. Zach's gonna take us through some trivia. You know we love saving the turts. You know Cam hates fucking paper straws.
paper straw song.
Sock.
I will say that paper straw technology has improved since I last shat on paper straws. I have used a couple since I've been able to go out more recently due to being vaccinated, and
That's what they were doing the whole time while we were inside. They were just inventing better paper straws.
I have seen also not paper straws, but it seems like they're compostable plastic straws or something. Like
You're talking about the
like,
ones
they
that
feel
are made out of
different.
like agave or whatever.
I have no idea what the composition of these straws are. I'm just, but they are different.
I'm not
than
a
the
straw
normal ones you
expert.
see. But you're the expert, Dylan.
But I do know a good glass straw when I see one, you know?
Yes. I will say for being at home and where maybe you like straws in your fruity margaritas, or you like straws to mix with your, old fashions or whatever. Having these straws around the home is really nice. No, not constantly like throwing things away, or you don't have to keep buying straws all the time. Like, you just buy a couple and then you're good.
And if you want cocktail picks or muddlers, they have that too. There's many colors. He's getting into like designs. So, like the pride flag, he puts it on like the side of the straw. He's got hearts. He's got critters. It's like you get a piece of art along with a straw. Little multi-use.
Oh yeah, he has critter straws, which see a dolphin, a salamander. That salamander looks intricate. That is impressive.
Grab some glass straws from Surfside Sips. Use promo code cocktails and classics spelled out for 20% off. We get a little kickback from that, and you get to save some money on some glass straws, and they should last you a long time. Dishwasher safe. They're pretty sturdy. Just don't drop them on the floor like me, like a big idiot. You have to buy more. Zach comes up with some trivia. He's going to quiz us. So, Zach, what do you got on the notebook?
Big first question. Huge first question. We sort of touched on it already, but I want to see who was really paying attention. When Noah and Allie are first taking a trip to Pound Town, how many questions does Allie ask Noah?
Jesus Christ, so many goddamn questions.
A, 5, B, 8, or C, 11?
11 feels like a lot, right? I mean, she did ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, that's why I 11 feels maybe, but it feels like so much. I'll go right down the middle and say 8.
I'll say 11. Let's go that.
How many questions can you guys name?
How are
I
you
don't
not
even
nervous
know.
or something? Like, why are you so calm or
Yeah, there's
something?
something like that.
Uh, I don't know. Did she say, "Are we doing this?" Or something? I don't know.
She asked him a few times, "What are you thinking? What are you thinking about? Did you plan this the whole time? Is this
Oh
what you usually
yeah.
do?" It was 11.
Damn!
Wow.
She
Wow.
asked
Woo.
11 questions, and they didn't even do it. Oh, Cam's on the board. That was just so many. It was a shit ton of questions. Anywho,
But she had been missing it for all those years.
question number 2. What was the name of the theater where Noah and Allie had their first date? A. The American. B. The Late Show. Or C. The Cinema.
Is it American Late Show or what was that one? The cinema?
Cinema.
I'm gonna say
Go with the Late Show.
And with that, ladies and gents, Dylan gets on the board.
hey, I am
Damn
a
it.
real American.
American.
Fight for the
Fight
rights
for
of
the
every
rights
man.
of every man, except for Allie's beta fiance.
Oh my god.
If you guys get stumped on this, we get to go to a fantastic tiebreaker. I'm just gonna throw that out
Inflation
there.
base?
It's not actually. It's counting based. Your second favorite category. All right, question number 3. We're all tied up at 1 apiece. You get this right, and the other dude does not. You take home the ship. Where is Martha Shaw from? A. Seabrook, B. Quail Ridge, or C. Greenville?
Is that the mom?
That was
Who's
about to
Martha
say,
Shaw?
I don't know who the hell Martha Shaw is.
Martha Shaw is the World War II widow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, what were the options
What were the
again?
options? Yeah.
Seabrook, Quail Ridge, or Greenville?
I feel like it's not the first one. Because that's where they are. That's where they live. Or where he lives, at least. I mean, did you really come up with Quail Ridge? I'm going to say Quail Ridge, I guess.
I am also gonna say Quail Ridge.
Wow, you
He did it.
I mean, I know that's the
He sent
the
it to
answer.
overtime.
I was gonna say, like, I know
That
that's
is
the
the
answer. I was
answer,
hoping
yes.
you'd say something different.
damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Martha is from the town next door, Quail Ridge.
I was gonna say he says she has to like drive over from the next town. Sends that you up
All right,
text.
boys. I made sure I didn't get this tiebreaker wrong. I watched this 3 times to make sure I got it right. The tie-breaking question, closest without going over. In the opening scene, how many paddle strokes do we see the rower take?
I turned away
Red
because he was still
background.
paddling.
I don't even remember.
It's when the credits are rolling.
35.
I don't know what an appropriate amount to even say. Like, I guess I'm
Well, how
gonna
many
say,
strokes
like,
does it usually take you?
Well, that's a different question.
Wait, did you say plural? Did you say like more than one?
Well, 1.5 counts as plural.
It's not quite 2, but it is more than 1.
I'm gonna say like 20. I guess. I don't know.
20 good strokes.
For the answer to this question that you asked, yes.
So the one I asked, or Zach?
No, the one Zach asked.
Okay.
You could edit it so you is Dylan. Ladies and gents, the answer is 29.
Yay, you went over.
Cam brings home the win.
Yay.
29 strokes.
Wow. Yeah, I turned away like halfway through because I was like, it's still going.
I figured you would have. I was like, all right, this is going to be a good one. I'm going to put it right at the middle. It's the only thing on the screen. And everybody's bored out of their minds watching this dude fucking stroke his canoe.
Well, Cam and I had seen this film. So Zach's going to go first, give us a fresh rating. Then Cam and I will compare our nostalgia rating to an updated.
Zach on the mic. I'm usually not one for these types of movies, but The Notebook was really good. I've got issues with it, mainly the Great Gatsby thing, and Rachel McAdams' character only dating beta cucks. But I liked it. Like, you throw in old people, and I'm gonna start the waterworks. Like, you can't show me these old people trying to stay together, and she's got dementia, and they had a love story in the 40s, and it's like, come on. This movie gets a 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's a good rating.
I've seen it twice now, I'm not going to lie. I just watched it again with my wife. And actually now she's watching Requiem for a Dream because she wants to listen to last week's episode. I'm like,
God.
I don't know if you can handle this all in a day.
That's a lot. Why would you want to watch that at all? You don't have to
I
watch
can
it.
sort of hear the music, so I like know right about where we're at. We're like an hour in.
Oh, she hasn't even hit the bad parts yet.
Going in, you know, I didn't think highly of this movie. I had it like a 4 out of 10.
Ooh.
Just because, like, I remember bits, but I feel like I had a very negative connotation of it when I watched it. And to be honest, I'm going to bump that up to Zach, a 7 out of 10.
Whoa.
You know, maybe it's just me, like, having grown as a human and kind of respecting the themes and the things that happen, sort of becoming a big old softy. I think this is probably the best, if not one of the best, romantic movies that I have seen. Yes, is it cheesy? But it's a really well-made movie, though. Like, at no point was I like, wow, this is way too cheesy to keep watching. Like, it's not like a Hallmark movie or a Lifetime movie, like that cheese. It's like, oh, well, this is like one of the best ones to do it, so everyone has kind of tried to copy that or spin off of that. Yeah, Noah's like kind of a creep at the beginning, but I think like later on he kind of, while not like the greatest character, I do think that he's kind of grieved and put on, like, he's moved on from this love, but like she comes back into his life and it turns back to when they were whatever 16, 17, and it's them as kids again, you know, they're in love again. I feel like as you get older you start to move away from being there's the connection maybe to the kids being young and this young love, and then as you get older there is the connection to the later half of your life and the Alzheimer's and dementia and Noah having heart attacks all the time, and you get this like mortality mindset that kind of scares you and makes you kind of well up and really appreciate the love that they have for each other. I'm gonna leave it at a 7 out of 10. I think it's great. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but I highly recommend it if you have not seen it.
So going into this movie, I think I would give it like a 5. Like you, I didn't have a great opinion of this movie. 5 is even kind of a default. I don't know. Like, I don't even... Like, if you had asked me about this movie before watching it just now, I don't know if I'd be able to tell you a ton about it, even though I've seen it, you know? But having seen it again, I don't think it affected my rating enough to move it. But there are definitely a lot of parts where this isn't really my cup of tea. And so for all of the parts where they're, like, younger, you know, it's very cheesy and it's a romantic drama, you know, and so it's, like, not really my thing. But I will say, as you said, now that I'm a little older than I probably saw it, like, 10 years ago, so a fair amount older or more. It definitely does, like, the scenes where they're older and the overarching story about them being, you know, older and her being, you know, having dementia and them being near the end of their lives. I mean, it does make you think about your own mortality a bit. And I don't think, see, in my opinion, when young people watch this movie, I feel like they're way more focused on the other parts of the movie, like the 80% of the movie, that's the other thing. But for me, I'm thinking about the 20% that's in the present day, you know, and so again, I'm going to leave my rating at a 5, but I have more of an appreciation for the other, like, for that older part. It's just an interesting take on it. I didn't expect that shift
because I feel like when we were kids, you know, everyone was just like, oh, they died in their sleep together, like it was so romantic. And then now I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't want to have dementia.
I will say
I don't want to die in my sleep. Like,
the ending kind of sucked. The ending kind of sucked. Like, it was a very cheesy ending. Them being like, can our love kill us tonight? Okay, strange. It's weird.
Suicide pact.
That's one of the things that brought me down from like an 8 was the cheese ending. Like, if you ignore the dialogue, I almost think it's a better ending.
See, I feel like, I think that they could have just... In my opinion, it would have been better had they just continued on this, what they're currently doing with no. They didn't need to die, like
No.
that didn't need to happen. They could have just continued on doing what they're currently doing, and we could have just, as the viewer, gotten to imagine, maybe they peacefully went in their sleep at some point in the future, like maybe their kids, like he got to go back to home with his kids and his grandkids. Yeah, but we got none of that. And they died together because love told them
I
to.
do agree with you guys, though. The older parts of this movie, I think the older we get, the better this movie's going to get. It's one of those ones that's just going to age like a fine wine or cheese.
Maybe the wine. I don't think cheese ages fine. Well, depends.
That's not true.
Cheese ages fine.
There's a lot of aged cheeses that people
Tell
like.
that to my Trader Joe's cheese that lasts about 5 days in the fridge.
Well, it's not.
Well, you
That's
gotta
not
professionally
that
do
type
it.
of cheese. Not that type of age. I mean.
Dog, I've got a Kraft Singles from when I was 4 years old, and it's still in my pants pocket. What are you talking about?
I don't think it's cheese at that point.
Vintage Kraft. I mean, it was never cheese. Let's get that straight.
I love that you peel the plastic off the plastic cheese. It's great.
It always flops over, too. It'll never hold itself up.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Share us with your friends and family. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Check us out next week as we do Legally Blonde. Check out the Casker and Drizzly links below. Get yourself a 19 Crimes Uprising
Or don't.
bottle. Or don't if you don't like wine like Cam.
No, reds. I'm fine with others, just not red. Or this red.
As always, watch responsibly.